publishes the voters register, which is a requirement of, is a statutory requirement, and it's indispensable in the electoral process. INEc is not new to conducting elections. And from what you have said, we have seen the performance of INEc in the Edo State election last year. We have seen the performance of INEC in the Ekiti State and Osun State elections.
For me to cut you short, I have to come in there. When you talk about Edo State and you talk about all other states, they are all states within our country, Nigeria. What we're dealing with here is the general elections. We've had one, we've had about, this will be the 5th elections in the history of our democratic system. We had one before I think 99, we had one in 2003, we had one in 2007, we had the last before this in 2011, you know. So you can look from all these elections, you know. INEC should understand that a lot is at stake. And so far, I don't think they've been able to live up to it. To me, I think it's just a business as usual. This is like 2011 elections or the previous elections. There are a lot at stake in this.
George, are you also considering that INEC might have some challenges that they're not able to cope with? I mean, challenges beyond them. You talked about, for instance, the political parties not meeting their own obligations to INEC.
Let me cut you short by saying that INEC has seen different administrations. INEC has seen Maurice Iwu and how Maurice Iwu fared. And then we have come to the present regime of Atahiru Jega. And without meaning to hold brief for INEC, I think the common opinion is that INEC has fared well in relation to the elections that they have conducted. I think at that point we should give INEC a pat in the back. The political parties have a role to play. INEC knows exactly what is at stake. That is without a doubt. INEC knows what is at stake. And even as we speak, in demonstrating that they have that obligation, in demonstrating that they are up to the task of ensuring a credible, free and fair election, we have seen the recent redeployment of state electoral officers. This is just to show Nigerians that it's not a case of business as usual. INEC means business. And INEC knows that at this point in time of Nigerian history, this is a period of, a make or mark period for Nigeria. And we know, I'm not holding brief for INEC, but INEC knows that the international community is watching against the backdrop of several predictions that have come in relation to Nigeria. So INEC, from their antecedents, from the elections they have conducted in 2014, have shown to the whole world that they mean business. As an umpire, they have all that it takes, and they have demonstrated it in these elections. And I think the bigger picture even has, it calls for greater work.
That is what we are now asking. Are they ready for that higher challenge?
They are ready. I believe they are ready. I strongly believe that INEC is ready.
I personally do not think so. It's simple. Ekiti State and Osun State, the elections that were held last year, I think from what we gathered, there's some sense of people, it was accepted.
Generally accepted.
Generally accepted. You know. But then it's moving away from that. Those are just states. They are just parts of a country, Nigeria. Now we're looking at the bigger picture. Can INEC fit into that system? The question I ask myself is that looking at past elections, the election that brought in Yaradua, for instance, I can remember vividly his acceptance speech in Abuja that day, where he said one of the major problems we have in Nigeria is the process by which leaders are brought into power. In other words, he is faulting the process that brought him into power and the need for us to stamp that out.
Well, at this point, I must insist that a system.
So in
The
Nigeria,
system is-
Nigeria, it has always been business as usual, business as usual, business as usual, business
But
as
INEC,
usual.
INEC as an institution is determined to self-correct. I want to lay emphasis on that word self-correct. It is a human institution that is not devoid of frailties or deficiencies. And it is against that background that the present administration of INEC has come out to make disclosures concerning the elections. And the position is that the elections will not only be free, fair, but will be seen and adjudged to be free, fair, and credible.
Okay, we'll take a break here. We'll come back, continue the conversation. He made a statement, says INEC is determined to self-correct. So why is INEC not appearing to self-correct? Are there challenges outside of INEC that are hindering INEC from self-correcting? This we'll get to find out. But before we go on that break, let's see what the comments that have come in are like. Al-Kadi Maman says, I don't agree with Samson that he will fail. The election might be flawed, but the election improved after. Ihan Yobata says, this is a general election, not staggered, thus they are not ready. Samson Oluaya says, I expect INEC to have advanced beyond their current status. Many Nigerians don't have any information about the election. Tune Bay says, do you think INEC's announcement today that it will not distribute PVCs in 15 out of 25 local government areas in Borno State is legal? Benny, we have less than 5 weeks to go and we're still talking about not having PVCs and some parties are busy with campaigns. Omoba Adewale says, it took INEC 4 years to produce PVCs in 2014. When will the PVC of those in December be ready? This is January already. Well, these are some of the comments that have come in, and there are many others still pouring, but we'll take a break and we'll come back, continue the conversation. Welcome back. Someone sent in a question, said I should ask the two of them whether they've gotten their INEC, their permanent voters cards. Okay, now when we went on break, Samson had a statement he made. INEC is determined to self-correct. So let's take off from that point. INEC is determined to self-correct. Do you agree?
I do not agree.
Well, in not agreeing, you seem to suggest that INEC is a willing tool in the hands of a particular party, or INEC as an institution is just an institution that has yielded to indifference or has abdicated its responsibility. I agree that it's an enormous responsibility on the shoulders of INEC. And we see the population as it is. The population of eligible Nigerians to participate in the general election. We see how large it is, but INEC is living to the challenges. The Electoral Act makes provision for a continuous voters registration. The Electoral Act also makes provision for any individual who, I think it's Section 10 of the Electoral Act, Section 10 sub 3, it makes provisions for any individual who is eligible to approach INEC and make an application and provide certain basic documents. And once those documents have been provided, INEC is under an obligation to register and issue a voter's card. So these are provisions which Nigerians may not even be aware of. These are enablements which Nigerians have not even tapped into. There is also the provision requiring INEC to, within 30 days,